Good morning, students. So today we will revise Unit 2. Unit 2 is titled with the channels of communication. So as I earlier discussed in Unit 1, a channel means the route or the path over which a message flows from sender to receiver. Or you can say that a channel connects the sender and the receiver. So it is clear that if there will be a long chain of channels, then there is a possibility of the distortion of the message, or message will be delayed. So channels should be limited. So now we will categorize, or we will discuss the types of the channels. Basically, channels are of two types. One is formal and another is informal. Formal channel is further divided into four parts. So first of all, we will discuss the formal channels of communication. But before discussing, you must make the idea what is the meaning of the formal channels of communication. In organization, there is a hierarchy. In hierarchy, the message flows from one person to another person, then to third person, like that. So in the hierarchy, there are some persons who are on the top, there are some persons who are in the middle, and the rest are at the bottom. So this line on which our message will flow decides the types of the channels, number one. Secondly, formal means which have some rules according to the organization. So we will start the types of the channels. We are discussing formal channels of communication. So in formal channels of communication, number one, if we see the structure of organization, there are on the higher platform some people, some officers, and those are called superiors, and then the middle, and then the bottom. At the bottom, we can say them subordinates. So when a message flows from top to bottom, or you can say that from superiors to subordinates, then such type of flow of message is known as downward communication. Direction is downward. So this is called downward communication. So in examination, nobody will ask you what is downward communication, because it is very simple. So in examination, the questions are framed by the examples, and they will ask you, or they may ask indirectly. For example, from upward to downward. If the communication is flowing from top to bottom, what will be the contents of the message? So the orders, who will give the order? Order will be given by the superiors. So orders, instructions, permissions, memorandums, such types of messages are included in downward communication. So as long as the chain will be lengthy, there is the possibility of distortion of the message. So how can we make effective this type of communication? So we can say that to minimize the chain, or minimize to limit the chain. So now, second, upward communication. So in upward communication, means the direction is upward, means from bottom to top, or you can say that from subordinates to superiors. So a message whenever flows from subordinates to superiors, or in other words from bottom to top, then it is called upward communication. Examples are very important in examination. They will ask you through examples. What type of message will you send to your superiors? Your application of leave, your request, your appeal, your suggestion, your grievance, or such type of things, such type of message flow through this channel. How can we make it effective? It is a common experience of you that whenever we confront the superior, then we feel hesitation. There is a barrier, there is a hesitation. Therefore, to make effective, we may install at the various places in our organization suggestion boxes. In suggestion boxes, employees or the subordinates may drop their suggestions. It is easy comparing to confront the higher officers. So suggestion boxes, installation of suggestion boxes is a very good method to make it effective. Further, open door policy. In open door policy, the officer, the superior, must allow or permit the subordinates to come in the office and to state the problem or the grievance. So it will boost the morale. MORALE. In dictionary, you will find the conversation morale. So morale may be boosted up through such type of actions, and the upward communication can also be made effective. Now, sometimes the situation is like that two officers of the same rank communicates with each other. So such type of communication, such type of flow of message, or such type of communication is known as horizontal communication. Horizontal means like that, in a line of equal status. So dummy official letters are the best example of the horizontal communication. So in horizontal communication, it saves the time, because two officers may discuss with each other and can sort out the problem. So this is the horizontal communication. Further, diagonal communication. Diagonal communication, to understand the diagonal communication, you must go through the structure or through the hierarchical structure of the organization. If suppose in our organization there are different departments, like as the finance department, inventory department, or sales department. So sometimes the situation is like that a subordinate in the line of finance department may talk or may communicate to the sales manager or to the assistant sales manager. So sales manager, suppose this is accounts manager, this is sales manager, this is inventory manager, like that. So in this line, the person communicating to such officer. So this is the diagonal communication. So in the department, whenever a person talks or communicates to the another person who is in the different department, so such type of communication is the diagonal communication. It also saves the time, and it is effective because because sometimes if suppose your superior is not present and you have to take any decision, then at that time, or you have a need to get something from the different department, so you can communicate and to sort out the problem. So these four types of channels are known as formal channels. So formal channels are those which are prescribed by the organization. These are also called proper channel of communication. So there are set rules. Now, informal channel of communication, there is one informal channel that is known as grapevine. So grapevine is a word which suggests that grape means you know very well, and wine means the branches. So like the branches of a grape spread all around, similarly our grapevine mode of communication spread in all directions. There is no set direction, there are no set rules in grapevine. So that is why it is called informal channel of communication. Now there are advantages and disadvantages of this type of communication. Advantages are, this is very fast. If you will say something to a person, he will tell to the another person, and then he may tell to a group, and the news will be flashed in a very short time. So this type of communication is known as grapevine. So grapevine, it is very important sometimes because it soothes your heart, or it may be used to pent out of the emotions. For example, if we want to say something to our if we want to say something to our boss in anger, then practically it is not possible. But whenever we discuss our resentment with our colleagues and we use some unparliamentary language also may be, then it will lower our anger. It soothes our anger. So frustration, or you can say that it is a type of catharsis. Catharsis means to bring out your suppressed anger and emotions. So it is important from the psychological point of view. Keith Davis, this is a name, Keith Davis, he divides the grapevine into strand. Strand means information passes from A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E, and at last to the Z. So person to person, when a message flows, then this is known as the strand, STRAND, strand type of grapevine. Probability means chances. Suppose a person tells randomly the message to another person, and then the second person again tells randomly the message to the other person, then this is known as the probability chain of grapevine. Gossip wheel means a person which is at the center, and he speaks to many persons. Suppose this is a circle, and at the center a person is sitting, and he is talking to this person, to this person, to this person, to this person, to this person. So this is known as the gossip wheel. Similarly, cluster means group. When a person tells a message to his favorite friends or to a particular group, then this is known as the cluster chain. So this was the grapevine, and you have to remember that grapevine is the informal channel of communication. So in examination, now question may be asked to you indirectly. For example, an appeal is a type of communication. So what will you give answer? Appeal. Who will do the appeal? Appeal will be done by the subordinate to the superior, right? So message will flow upward. So this is an example of upward communication. Okay, so on the basis of your common sense, you can categorize the types of the message. In the last, we will solve some assignments. So this unit and third unit are intermingled. The topics are intermingled. So what are the types of communication? You know very well. There are the types of the communication is verbal and non-verbal. Verbal means oral. So or in oral communication, you know very well what happens, and it is the I think sixth unit or fifth unit. So we will discuss it there. And another is non-verbal. In non-verbal, there are, which is not oral, it means that is written, and that is body language that flows with the help of body language. That is known as the non-verbal mode of communication. So now we will discuss these types of communication. So in oral communication has no legal validity because there is no proof unless until it is recorded. And you can say that oral communication is fast. You can speak. It is this is the common experience that writing takes much time in comparison of the oral speech. So by the way of the speech, we can address a large mass of people. So it is fast. Oral communication is fast. It is not so formal. And sometimes there is a face-to-face communication. So it is effective in that respect. If we will talk face-to-face, then eye contact will be there. So it makes the communication effective. So in oral presentation, there are some rules. We will study it in the fifth unit. Your body language should also count there. But here you must remember that in oral communication, the means of oral communication is speech. In written communication has a validity because this is the proof, and it may be used for the legal evidence. This is permanent record, and it is widely accessible. So in written communication, you must follow some rules. The principle of communication. This is the again separate unit, but we will discuss it here. All the principles are same as we have studied in unit 1. Courtesy, completeness, clarity, conciseness. Again, these are also the principle of the written communication. In addition to this, we can say that in written communication we should use simple language. There should not be grammatical error. We should write to the point. So these are the basic principles and of the written communication. We should mention the relevant facts. We should not explain the unnecessary things. So concise principle. So written communication must be with written communication we must follow these principles. So this is common to in first unit and second unit. Now we come on the topic of non-verbal communication, and in non-verbal communication, particularly at the body language. So there is a word, kinesics. Kinesics is a word which means body language. Sometimes When we speak, that is not so much impressive, but our postures, gestures, and our body language tells much more about ourselves. So it is very important, non-verbal communication. And in interviews, they observe your body language, so you must know the about the body language. So in body language, eyes, face, head, our hands, or our whole body is used to communicate. If suppose your eyes in face-to-face communication, or in you can say that our face reflects our inner feelings. If we are in anger, then face will tell. If we are happy, again face will tell. Similarly, eyes will also reflect the anger and emotions. So inner emotions are reflected beautifully with the help of our body. So this is known as the body language. So here, head, if your head is high, then it shows that you are in confidence. If suppose your head is down, it means you have done something wrong. Similarly, if your eyebrows are, your eyelids are like that, and you are not making the eye contact, then it shows that you are hiding something, or there is something wrong with you, or you are feeling guilty, or in case of feminine sex, you can say that there is the some uh, feeling some shame, or not confident like that. So posture and gesture. Posture is what? Posture is your way of the body in rest position. That is the posture. Gesture. Gesture means the movement of the body. If suppose I am delivering the lecture and my hands are moving, so this is the gesture. And if suppose if I am standing in a different position, stand still, that is posture. So